Hi, this is Lorraine, and I've been guided to create another video. If you'll give me a minute to clear, center, and balance my energy, we'll get started. There are two main messages that came in this week. One was breaking through the glass ceiling, and the other one was you are in the crystal city. And the first part, I feel like I just want to read what is in my journal, and just a little bit because it's so clear. And this is just automatic writing, so I'll get information that comes in and then I start writing, and I start writing until the information stops. So, breaking through the glass ceiling. We have been artificially held back. We do not need to meet them at their level of technology or on the battlefield. We are rising above, out of, over the glass ceiling energetically. So this is not about, there's going to be no wars, there's going to be no technological advancement that's going to oppress us. And this will become more clear because I know that's a contradiction to what's happening right now, but let me just keep reading. The perceived fighting is in the 3D mindset. Divergence has occurred. We are living from different levels of consciousness. Someone who commits to paradigms, belief systems, will not be able to see or integrate an alternative point of view or consider another different or conflicting paradigm. It is only their belief that matters. This is the foundation of duality, a singular belief that you are correct and everyone else is wrong or delusional. There is no discussion, no meaning of the minds. There is no need to move further from this place. Disillusion is what we are experiencing. Once again, disillusion is what we are experiencing. There is no reason to continue moving forward from this place. We are at the end of the cycle. This is as far as we can go. This whole week, I've been feeling a very strong sense or energy of accountability. And I'm just going to read what I wrote in here. Regardless of your side, all will be held accountable for actions that went against the greater good. Perspective is paramount. Many on the left or right believe their actions are righteous, but any action rooted in ego and what's best for the self does not account for the greater good, no matter how it is framed. So now I just want to talk about two visions I feel will better explain what I was just saying, what I was just talking about with the glass ceiling and you are in the crystal city. So the first vision I had was there was a being, it was an amphibious being. I thought it might have been the ambassador that I had drawn a picture of that I shared with everybody before, but because this being looked very similar, but it was a different being altogether, and it was also another amphibious being. And this being met me, and we walked into what I would call the void. So one of my very first experiences in moving into this space was during a past life regression. And I was pulled out the best way I could say it is I felt pulled out of my body, and I was pulled into this space that I call the void. It was very unsettling the first time. I actually felt my stomach, lost my stomach like I was on a roller coaster. I looked at myself being pulled away from the earth. There was a little bit of anxiety and a little bit of fear the first time it happened, but by this, that was about almost 10 years ago. But the void is a place of creation. So we moved to this place that I call the void, and we were standing together, and I looked across this void, this space, and there was a golden city. It was a golden city. It looked like a modern day city. Very tall buildings, and there was no communication between me and this being, verbally at least. But I started to walk towards the city, and as I started to walk towards the city, I started to move down into this black, thick liquid that I would describe as almost like an oil consistency, like engine oil. But I didn't know it was there. So as I move forward, I'm slowly walking into this liquid as if I was walking into a pool or into the ocean. And so I just kept walking forward because I was drawn to walk forward towards the city. And I was completely submerged, and I just kept walking across this body of fluid or liquid that I would equate with a lake or an ocean. It was still, and I just kept walking to the other side, completely submerged, and then I came up. I started coming up out of the fluid or the liquid, just as if I was walking out of the ocean. And as I was walking out, the liquid was dropping off of me. And so it was black. I was covered in this black liquid, and it just came off of me cleanly. And as I continued to walk forward, the city was no longer gold. It was crystal. It was all crystal white. And I was a little confused, and I just kept walking forward into the city, and it was empty. And the message that came in as I come into the city is, this is your reward. But the city was empty. And I asked, why is the city empty? And I turned around, and there were many other people coming out of the oil or the black liquid, and that liquid was dropping off of them, and they were coming to the city with me. And after I thought about it for a bit, the gold city represented the 3D gold, and I started thinking about cities of gold, like in the Aztecs, Egypt. So many ancient cities were laced with gold, right? They had gold buildings and gold structures. And this was a sign of wealth and power, right? So gold represents the hierarchy. It represents physical material plane. And it represents the 3D. That's what came in very clear. It represents this level of consciousness that we are moving out of. The crystal city represents the expanded level of consciousness. It represents clarity. The crystal, I feel clarity. I feel expansion. I feel purity. Purity. I feel manifestation. I feel enlightenment. I feel all the things we desire and hope for. And so I can't help but make the connection between breaking through the glass ceiling and the crystal city. We are energetically, not through any type of combat, not through any type of physical combat or verbal combat, not through any type of taking action towards something. It is our ability to expand and grow beyond the paradigms, beyond the belief systems, beyond the dogma that's in front of us. It's our ability to step outside the box and be unique in our truth to ourselves. It is about allowing ourselves to live our truth individually and walk our path and purpose. And as ironic as this might seem, as we find our own truth and we honor that truth, we honor ourselves, we love ourselves unconditionally. We are true to ourselves. We respect ourselves, and we live from that place. We naturally will move forward and draw towards us the people that are meant to be in our lives. And we will naturally create a collective of like-minded people from a balanced place, reconciling our truth as we reconcile duality and live from a balanced place. This is innate. It will come to us innately as we find our sovereignty in our truth. The second vision was Zayco came into my room when I was sleeping, and he pulled me out, and we went to the quasi-moon asteroid 2025 PN7, and because I was in my pajamas, he covered me with his cloak. I will call it a cloak. We went through the Transdimensional gateway together, and as we went through the gateway, after we went through the gateway, we walked to what I would call a pool, and I stepped into the pool, and I completely submerged myself, and I stayed there for I can't say exactly how much time. And as I came up out of the pool, I was a different being, a different person. And when I came out, I looked like, similar to an image I use to represent Gladiola, one of beings in the water. The Gladiola and her people live in our bodies of water, our natural bodies of water, our oceans, our lakes. Any natural body of water, you will find Gladiola and her people. And so I've used different images to represent her. And so I came out of the water looking very similar to one of the images that I use, and I'll show it to you. I'll put it in picture, but it's not exact. And so at first I thought, am I one of, in another place, in another space, am I connecting to a part of me that exists within her collective? But I quickly ruled that out. This is a being that, this is a part of me that exists at a higher level of consciousness, at a more expanded level of consciousness. Maybe I'll cut that out, maybe I won't. I know it's very difficult maybe to understand, but I did videos on how all time is now, and we exist in all places in all lifetimes at the same time, and that might help you understand this concept a little bit better. And I'll see if I can find those videos and put them in the description. But this vision is very important, and so it's important for me to share it. So as I come out of the water, and as I see myself as this being, it's a water being of very expanded consciousness. It's very clear to me that I am communicating with beings of very high, let's say high vibration, very expanded consciousness, and working on what needs to be done to transition our world. And I've said this many times, change on the 3D level is temporary. Lasting change happens in the higher realms. There are many beings in these higher realms that are working towards manifesting the change. We all exist at higher levels of consciousness, expanded levels of consciousness. But where we are right now, because of the weight and the density of our physical form, we are not able to access that expanded level of consciousness from this place. And we're not meant to. We're not meant to. We're having this experience here right now for a reason. But when I went into that pool and I came out as this other being, it's to allow me to access these more expanded levels of consciousness that give me greater ability. That I'm just going to use that word, greater ability. And once again, this is not exclusively my gift. We all have access to this, but it is, we each have a journey that takes us to this place. This is important because someone had asked me a question in the comments last week about, let me see, what is it? Comet C 2025 R3 PanSTARRS. And I hadn't done any, I had stayed away from news, I've stayed away from watching videos on different social media platforms intentionally. So I really wasn't seeking more information. I was seeking more, receiving information through meditation. And so this morning when I was waking up, I decided to just read up on, do a little research on what Comet C 2025 R3 PanSTARRS was. And the second that I started reading about it, I heard it's a survey ship. It's a survey ship, plain and simple. I don't think there's much more to say other than that. Other than that information about the PanSTARRS comet came in, I started receiving information about the fireballs that are coming to Earth and other comets. And I'm just going to reiterate, In March of 2020, very strong messages came in that all beings not of Earth, meaning any being that's not of Earth, Gladiola and her people, the Raptors and their people, and surface humans are all meant to be on this world. Any other beings are not meant to be here. And there's a very strong message saying they must leave. And any beings that do not leave will deal with the karmic consequences. Anybody interfering with what's going on here on Earth would be dealing with karmic consequences, but not only those individual beings, their worlds. Last year, I started receiving another message that said, return to Earth. So all the beings that are meant to be here to support Earth were called back to Earth. That being said, the fireballs that are coming down to Earth, that we see all those, I've been seeing a lot of videos on social media this week. It made me think of Revelation. I think the 6th seal talks about fire balls coming down to Earth. That's just a metaphor. Those are part of that from 3i Atlas. Those are part of the AI technology that's coming onto this world and meant to heal and clear the energy, but not just the fireballs. That energy, those particles, that technology was projected through the sun and meant to come onto Earth. The fireballs are physical manifestations, things that we can see coming to this world. And there's talk that they are remnants of 3i Atlas moving through our solar system, because now Earth is moving through the path that 3i Atlas took. And I really intuitively feel, regardless of the path of 3i Atlas, regardless of where Earth is, for a very long time, 3i Atlas has been projecting this energy towards Earth, these particles towards Earth, and this technology towards Earth. And when it came close to Earth, that energy had to be projected through the sun. Otherwise, it could do more damage than good. And we are now just physically seeing it with these fireballs. We are absolutely able to physically see it. But even though only now we can physically see it, it's been coming in for a very long time. Let me go back when I was talking about Comet C 2025 R3 PanSTARRS. When that information came in, what also came in is there are many contingency plans put in place. There are many things that can transpire during this transition. And this being that I turned into is working with the higher realms to mitigate and plan all the different contingency plans to assure that humanity, transcending humanity, moves forward in the way it is meant to. And all these objects that we are all of a sudden seeing coming into our solar system that are being labeled comets or asteroids or any other object, they have a purpose. They absolutely have a purpose. And just because nobody's talking about it and nobody's saying what they truly are and what they're meant to do, doesn't mean that they're here just to fly by. Doesn't mean they're random astronomical objects moving through our solar system. These objects have purpose. And they're not just objects. I'll just say that plain and simple. They are not just objects. Like I said, this comet PanSTARRS is definitely a surveyship. So I feel like I just need to summarize really quick. The first vision was about, the first vision of the Gold City and the Crystal City was just about our journey. Our journey, when we walk through that oily water, that dark black water, and we come out, that's the journey of duality, the journey of representing all the trauma that we've been through. And as we walk out of that trauma, it all falls away. We're ending the cycle, and we will release any karma related to that cycle before we walk into that Crystal City. And that Crystal City represents our new beginning of clarity, purity, enlightenment. It's our gift. The second vision is about the process that we're going through, letting us know that even though it doesn't seem like things are happening or things are changing, that there is a plan in place and it is being executed. And we are at the very beginning of being able to physically see that change come into our world, into our solar system, into our existence. It's just the beginning, but nevertheless, it is here. And the hardest message that came in this week was there is no need to move further from this place. Disillusion is what we are experiencing. With the Crystal City and with the other visions, it is very clear that divergence is complete. Divergence is complete. Those who are transcending have been sealed, as it's referred to in the Bible, in Revelation. The seals have been placed. We are moving into the Crystal City, and we are starting this new cycle. We are no longer existing at this 3D level of consciousness. Rest assured. If you'll give me a minute. All right, that's it. Thank you.